Good morning, afternoon. I nearly said morning, but it's actually good afternoon. Welcome to this Lunch and Learn. I haven't done one of these for a while. First of all, I'd just like to, I'm not going to apologize for it, but I'm just going to tell you why I am dressed like this with no makeup or hair done. And that is because I'm going to a Pilates class. I know that this is difficult for you to believe if you've followed me for any length of time, but I'm trying to be a little bit healthier. So that is why. This is why I look like this. I have got a treat for you today because I've got three amazing people that are on our Kickstart Mastermind at the moment. Oh yeah, do say hello. Hello. Let me know if you are here live. I can see a few of you are. Now, because we're using StreamYard, it often doesn't tell us your name. So if you can, I can see somebody said afternoon, but I can't see who it is. So if you can write your name in there, then I'll know who you are. Thanks, Francis. See, Francis, it tells me you're here. It's telling for everybody else. It's not telling me. But thank you for being here and spending your Friday afternoon with me. Okay. Oh, I think I've got a Charlie Day. Hold on a second. Hi. We had a few tech issues. We didn't know whether Charlie was going to be joining us.
Not like me, is it, to have a tech issue?
But she's here now. So all is good. I can see Katie Clell is here, Cara's here, Nicola's here. Amazing. Oh, that will be why, Francis, because you're on YouTube. Great to see you all. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring on each of my Kickstarters and they can introduce themselves and tell you what they do. So let's start with Kirsty. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Tell us what you do, who you sell to, what you're an expert in.
Right. So I'm an expert in email marketing. I've been doing that for a number of years through a travel blog that I've been doing as well. So I also do travel blogging, and that's kind of what I started through Kickstart with my travel blog.
Amazing. Let me introduce Nikki. Hey, Nikki, welcome to the stage, as it were.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Tell us what you do, Nikki.
So I'm a business mindset strategist. So I work with mainly women in business to help them with their strategy, but also with their mindset so they can actually take the action and move forward.
Amazing.
Love it.
And last but not least, we also have Natalie. Natalie, let everybody know what you do.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I am primarily at the moment a wedding photographer, but also have digital courses for other photographers to help them improve and grow their businesses as well.
Brilliant. So like a range of people. And this is always what happens, like in a mastermind that we put together, we generally have a real range of people, some product businesses. We've got people in there that are coaches. We've got people in there that are like all sorts. You can't even imagine the mix that we have. But what I wanted to talk about today, because I think that often Kickstart is the first mastermind that people have been in. And a mastermind is really different to, let's say, a course. If you've done something like Visible or One-to-Many before, or any sales courses with Charlie, it's quite different when you go into a mastermind. Why did you three come into the mastermind, starting with Kirsty?
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to do it was because I've done quite a lot of courses in the past. I felt like I kind of knew enough of the basics, and I didn't want that anymore
to do.
I just thought I need the kind of next step from that. So I don't need somebody to be pulling me back down to the basics again. I need to be moving forward. And so that was really for me. But also a lot of my work was very much behind a screen as well. And I just kind of wanted to get out of my own head and into a better community. So that was why I wanted to join the mastermind.
Brilliant. What about you, Nikki?
It's very similar. For me, it very much is about the community, having people around me. I think, again, working how we do, most of us working from home and by yourself, it can get really lonely and you can spend that time in your head. But knowing that there's other people that are doing the same as you, and that you've got a sounding board from that. But also, I think what really appealed to me with this one is knowing that there was the roadmap there, that you can still gain the information that you needed, but do it in a way that you could sort of pick what was relevant for you, and do it that way. Excuse me, my dog is here and keeps
that's okay. But I think that what you just said is really important, because I think sometimes during a course you can be going through a course and you'll be like, okay, I've done this bit, this isn't so relevant for me. Whereas when you have a roadmap, you don't have to start at the beginning. It's like, well, I've done this bit, this is the bit I need to concentrate on, but you can see the roadmap to get there. You can see how near you are as well to getting where you need to be.
And see what you've already done as well. I think that was a really important.
Yeah, exactly. Because there'll be parts of the roadmap for everyone who they're like, actually, I know that bit. I'm really good at that bit, which is great because we're all great at different bits. But then there'll be other parts where you see it and you're like, okay, this is where I need to start. And so many people have said that to me in the Kickstart, you know, actually having that step-by-step guide and the highlighted, this is what you need to work on, and then this has really helped them to get that focus that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that. Natalie, what about you? Because you are more towards the top of the scale of earners when we look at the financials for Kickstart.
So I think echoing what Nikki said about being in business can be quite lonely. And, you know, there's only so many times where you can talk to your husband or wife or partner about what it is that you're doing. And they're like, yes, okay. And for me, it was kind of having a space to ask questions, like a dedicated space to ask questions where I knew that there would be people of, you know, a kind of a similar level, but also like a similar mindset in terms of having that growth mindset. So, you know, obviously learning from you, Lisa, and you, Charlie, but having that community of growth-minded individuals, because there can be a lot of spaces online that can be quite negative, and, you know, I just thought that this is going to be a really positive space, supportive space to get advice, get reassurance, and everybody's there together to kind of move businesses forward and support each other, rather than just going into it and, you know, everyone's not just in it for themselves. You know, people kind of answer each other's questions. And I think for me, it was about going from a place of feeling quite lonely and having done lots of courses and everything, and then thinking, okay, I don't need any more learning now. What I need is support and a place to just go, can somebody have a quick look over this sales page, or having a quick question, or does anybody have any advice or recommendations about XYZ? So for me, that is what is the biggest benefit of that mastermind, you know, the kind of that community spirit.
Yeah. And I think that's important, because there are places out there are memberships and things like that you can go in. But when you're in a mastermind, it's your space. So, you know, there's no rules that, you know, no one cares if you promote. There's not enough of you for us to worry about that. You know, it's a much smaller community. And so we're all right with you saying, can you look at this sales page and that kind of thing? Whereas when you have that in a membership, it's really difficult to do that. It's really hard to let everybody do that, because it ends up just being a spam fest. It doesn't do that in smaller groups. So it's really easy to be able to say, hey, can you look at this? Or why didn't this sell as well as I thought? Or, you know, even celebrating, like, this is what I've done and this is how I do it. I think one of the best things about masterminds, and obviously I'm in a mastermind, I've always been in a mastermind since I started, is there's a real give and take mentality. Like, no one's thinking, I'm keeping these cards close to my chest. It's very much, I will tell you how I just did this thing. Yeah. And I love that.
We all learn from each other. And also, when you're surrounded by other people who are highly ambitious and are pushing themselves forward, and you see their growth, you also see what's possible for yourself. And that's what I love. You know, I always say this, I'm like a broken record, but we're this product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I want to make sure that I'm spending my time with awesome people. And that's why I'm always part of a mastermind, because I want to be part of a group of people that's just that little bit further ahead than me, to be pushing me. And that's the beauty of a mastermind for me.
Yeah, I love being around people that are a bit further ahead than me. It's so good, because you're always learning and you are being pushed. If there's, you know, I'm in a mastermind where pretty much everyone is at the multi-7 to multi-8 figure mark, and I feel pushed. Like, well, I'm not there. I need to get where they are. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And I think that's a really good place to be, because if you see people doing something, you know you can. If you're around people, you know you can. And that's important. And I remember, Charlie, when you first came into my mastermind, you were a bit nervous that people were ahead
Ahead of
of
me.
you, if you like, financially. But I like that feeling, and I think you should have that feeling sometimes. So talking
Yeah.
about that, yeah, go
Yeah.
for it,
No,
Charlie.
I was just going to say, just because I know people have watched this, and I know that perhaps like when me and Kirsty spoke, she was in a bit of a similar situation. When I came into Lisa's mastermind, I wasn't really ready to be in that mastermind, but I knew that I wanted exponential growth, and I knew that I wanted to do things fast because it wasn't my first business. And so often people ask me about Kickstart, like, is this right for me? Because my business maybe isn't where Natalie's business is yet. But my question for anybody like that is, well, do you want to grow really fast? Do you want to get there quicker? Because, okay, your business might not be at 6 figures yet, but I very much believe that we can get you to 6 figures in 12 months, maybe less if you're already well on the way. So, yeah, and I remember me and Kirsty were talking in the beginning, and I mean, Kirsty has just done amazingly well from the mastermind and just putting herself out there, and everyone has, but, you know, and Kirsty was like, I'm just starting out with this. Should I do it? And I'm like, yes, my answer is yes, do it.
So let's talk about the realities. I don't think sometimes that being in a mastermind is easy. If I'm honest, I've been in I remember the first mastermind I went into. I was very used to courses. I was very used to hand holding and someone saying, do this today, do this week. And suddenly that wasn't there. And the mastermind that I was in didn't even have a roadmap. It was a bit like you go in, and if you need support, you ask for it. And I found it hard. I felt a bit lost at the beginning. It took me a while to find my feet. How have you guys felt with that? And what else was more difficult about being in a mastermind? Because I don't want to paint this picture that everything's always rosy, because it's not. Sometimes things are hard. Starting off with Kirsty again.
Okay, what did I find hard? I find it hard really to ask questions. That's one of my things, which is probably might even be quite surprising for everybody who's in the mastermind, because I'm always in there asking questions.
Yeah.
But I have to really, really push myself to ask things, to show up on the hot seat session, to have something. Because normally by the time I've formulated the question, I've kind of answered it for myself. But yeah, that's just been really hard, just to push myself out there, just to make sure that I'm kind of getting in people's faces and like showing up, because it's so easy for me just to sit in my own head. So that's been, I think, really just the hardest part for me, was just figuring out what I can get from the group and making sure that I was actually putting the effort into getting that.
I think that's a really good point, because a lot of the time in every mastermind I've been in, if I'm completely honest about it, I've got clients from it, not purposely, but I just have, because they've seen what I can do. And that's because I've shown up and I've asked questions and I've talked about what I'm doing, and I've just been in people's faces, basically. And I do think that works. I think that's a good way of people knowing who you are and wanting to collaborate with you.
I had somebody yesterday who joined up to Kickstart yesterday, and she messaged me, and I thought that this was such a great message. She messaged me saying, Charlie, I've just signed up. I'm so excited. How do I get the most out of Kickstart? And I think that that is the attitude that you have to come in with. And I know that that's what I've always done in my masterminds. Like, how can I make sure that I get the most? Be that clients, be that confidence, be that a better strategy, be that more skills. But actually to have a plan to go in there and get the most out of it, I was just like, yes, love that question.
Good question. And what about you, Nikki? When you came in, did you find anything difficult?
I think for me, it was around sort of my own stories that I was telling myself, and sort of started to compare very early on. I started to compare myself to everyone else in there. And it's that thing, because you're taking that step up. You're doing this because you want to move up and you want to further where you are. And I did find myself comparing, going, oh, I'm nowhere near what they're doing. And, sort of letting those stories sink in. But actually, after a while and getting to know everyone, you realize what a supportive place it is. And actually, by putting yourself out there and getting to know these people, and you realize how much you can gain from them, but also how you can help them as well. I've found that I've been helping people along the way, and they've been saying, oh, that's been really useful. And, it's sort of highlighting that. But yeah, definitely, it was just getting out on my own way from that point of view of comparison, and realizing that, like Charlie said with the whole 6-figure thing, that it's a lot simpler than you think it is. And just allowing that, really but turning up as well. I think you could easily sort of step back and go, right, this isn't for me. But actually, it's then having that courage to turn up to the calls and get what you can from it, and then take it forward, like, and do it in a way that suits you, but you're still having to push yourself to get there. So
yeah. What I love that you said there is that you realize that even though you might not have been the person making the most amount of money, there were still things you could help people with, because we all have our own zones of genius. Like, I've had coaches that are not at 6 figures yet because they have a zone of genius that I do not have for maybe social media or sales. Like, I need to learn from them. And I think we can all learn from people. It doesn't really matter, like, financially what stages we're at, if we need to know something that person knows. And that's why having a mastermind, we can all learn from each other about all sorts of different things, which I think is brilliant. What about you, Natalie? What have you found difficult, if anything, coming in?
So I have done a couple of other masterminds prior to coming into Kickstart, and so I wouldn't say that I found anything difficult. What I would say is that it's like with anything, you get out what you put in. You have to put the effort of turning up to calls. You have to ask those questions. Now, I'm a big question asker anyway, and I think that if you're investing in that space, it's not just investing and suddenly you're going to get to 6 figures. It's investing in your own accountability to put that effort in to drive that needle forwards in your business. And it is, you get out what you put in, basically. I think if I had to choose one thing that I found difficult, and that's probably remembering when some of the calls are with my ADHD, but literally this week, right, we've been together 5 years. My husband finally set up a digital calendar on my phone. So I know when the calls are now, so I'll be turning up a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be like, where's Natalie? We know she knows when it is.
Yeah.
I've set up 3 reminders for everything that's in the calendar as well. So I will be there for all the calls.
Fantastic. And let's be honest, there is a lot that goes on in Kickstart. So you can forget things, and not everybody can turn up to everything. We have the content sessions, we have the offer creation sessions, there's mindset calls, there's your one-to-one calls, there's hot seats with me, there's lead generation with Charlie. There's a lot that goes on in a month. And I think sometimes that can feel overwhelming. So it's about deciding what you need at that time. Like, I have people not come to some things and come to others. And I think, they know what they need. And that's a good thing. So let's talk about results. You've been in 4 to 5 months now. How have you found it? What results have you got from it? How has it helped? Starting with Kirsty.
Okay, so the beginning of Kickstart was quite stressful for me because I'm not going to go on about it all, but there was quite a lot of different changes that I had to make, and I pivoted quite quickly into going into my zone of genius and things that I learned about. So I was kind of a little bit late starting, but I used Kickstart really well. I think the roadmap was great. I've followed it as much as possible, and so 2 months in, going from nothing, so basically nothing at the very beginning. 2 months in, I've started to get my first paying clients, and starting to really build a bit of a name for myself as well as somebody who can help with email marketing. As I'm getting tagged in things and people are starting to see who I am.
You're very visible.
yeah. And that's part of that, because it's so easy to sort of shrink into the background. But I knew that I needed to use Kickstart as a kickstart to, if I can't use this to help me go, then, I'm not going to do it, I kind of thought. So yeah, it's been really good. I've started to get my first clients, and really starting to build a good base for my business as well. I really feel like I'm on the right path. Like I say, we've got the roadmap. I feel really kind of secure with that. So really excited about it all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What about you, Nikki?
And I was in a team meeting the other day with my team, and we were discussing different trainings for the membership, and someone had said, "Oh, I've seen this girl Kirsty Bartholomew for our email marketing month," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Kirsty, yes, she's in Kickstart, definitely 100%." But I felt like a proud mum. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes.
It is like that when you're in a Facebook group and someone puts, "Does anyone know anyone that can help with email marketing?" And then loads of people put Kirsty, and you're like, yes, like it's working, the visibility. Nikki, what about you? What have you found that's helped?
for me, it's been quite a journey, actually. And, I think we can come into these things sort of really focusing on the financial aspect of it and what we're going to get from it. But when I look back over the last few months, and I realized I came into this, I had so many, it's that classic, I think, entrepreneur brain. You have so many ideas. And I think up to now, it's almost been like that sort of scattergun approach of, not really knowing, and nothing was sticking. And for me, my massive breakthrough, and Charlie will know this, has been about my messaging. And because I've been able to really focus on that, and I've got to a point where now I'm really clear on that. And that in itself has now started to create clients coming in, and I've got a new client starting next week, and all through the fact that I'm now getting clearer on what I'm putting out there, and people then also understanding what I do. So yeah, it's the growth in me from that point of view, and I feel like I'm so much clearer on what I'm doing, and I've got my weeks are better planned, and just from all the information that I've had from this. So yeah, it's been massive. And I think one thing I would say is don't underestimate what you can get out of it from a non-financial point of view. And just seeing that classic thing of just looking back where I was to where I am now, I feel completely different.
I think messaging is massive. It's why it's one of the biggest content pillars on the roadmap. It's so important, because if you don't have clarity on where you're going, it's really hard to then go full speed ahead. Like, you have to get that bit sorted. It's so important. Amazing. I'm really pleased that you're clear with everything you're doing now, because then we see you go faster and faster and faster, and that's what we want. What about you, Natalie?
Sorry, what? I've always got something more to say. And Nikki, for me, I have this all the time, that when I speak to somebody and they tell me about their business and what they've got to offer, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. You are awesome. But their messaging was saying something quite generic. And I was like, when I speak to you, I want to buy from you, but I'm not wanting to buy from you from the content, but I know that what you've got is amazing. And it was just really small tweaks that you needed to make to be like, yes. So yeah. Amazing.
Brilliant. Natalie, how's it helped?
So I will talk about the financial side of things, but I think more than that, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I think more than that, it's helped me feel more confident in myself, in my business and what I offer, and not just what my current business is, but also helping me get clarity on like my next steps, because as you guys know, I'm going to be kind of transitioning the business a little bit more. So I have got a lot more clarity about that. So looking at things like visibility, content ideas, consistency, accountability, essentially all the things that have helped me get to where I have got with my current 6-figure business. It's also because it's given me more confidence, I've been able to take some big business moves, risks, be consistent with launch content, showing up and being visible without kind of hiding and shying away. That confidence honestly has really been business changing and life changing. So the main reason that I signed up for Kickstart was, one, to get the community aspect of things and have that dedicated space to ask questions, but also I was coming into a launch. Now, I did OTM Passion for Passive back in like autumn 2018, I think. And I only live launched in spring 2023. That was the first live launch that I ever did. So last year was kind of tweaking the launches, and I did a couple of different courses. And then I was doing the second launch of, I've got Success Accelerator, which is a photography business and marketing course. So that was one of the main reasons that I joined Kickstart, because I thought, I really want to up-level this. I want to make sure that I am doing the right things. So I did have a lot of questions. And actually one of the first questions was, I've left this launch really late because I've been super, super busy with photographing weddings and editing weddings. And I've got 1 week to promote the boot camp. And I said, shall I push on or shall I just push it back a week? Which didn't make sense, because then the launch was like after payday, and everyone in the group was like, go for it. Come on, do it. So I did. I pushed on ahead with it. And I think within a week of promoting that boot camp, I had my goal was 400, which I thought was a massive push. And again, set that goal further so that you can push yourself. And I think I had like 399 people sign up, but that was within that 1 week. And then I did go on to do launch, to do that launch. And I had my good figure, my better figure, and my amazing figure was 30 grand. So I think it was like 20, 25, 30. So good, better, amazing. And that actually ended up being a 34, it was more than that, £34,000 launch with 1 week to promote. So, you know, super grateful for that, because not only did I have the advice like on the run up to it, but I was sharing my sales page. I was, you know, asking questions, should I call it a challenge or a boot camp, and things like that. And, you know, people were saying, ask your audience. And, you know, so there was lots of little things, like little tips and advice and tweaks and things, which I really feel helped me build my confidence around that launch, be more consistent and more visible, but also more creative with the content ideas to promote that launch, and then ended up having that £34,000 launch. So yeah, it was super happy with that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. If you had to only say one thing that you like, I know there's a lot of things in Kickstart that you get, but if there was one thing that you were like, that is the thing that I love Kickstart for, like that's the bit I need. Is it the content sessions? Is it the hot seats? Is it Charlie's lead gen? Like, what is the thing that really pushes you in there, Kirsty?
I really like the offer creation sessions. They've been really helpful for me. Just, I can't remember what it was that Renee said about it, but it was something like about how you really sort of feel really secure in what you've got to offer. And that's like a really important thing at this stage of our business. And I really feel like that's really helpful for me. Even just hearing that yeah, I need to feel really secure in this and to work on that. That's been my favorite part.
Fantastic. Nikki?
I've loved the content sessions with Shelley, and I think it's that thing that not only are you getting the ideas from it, but you're actually being sort of walked through it as well, and sort of sharing all the secrets of you know, well, I say secrets, it's actually really simple things that you can do, but yeah, getting really clear on that, and just having some bits that you can then straight away after the session you can go and implement and do, and yeah, that's been amazing.
The good thing about having Renee and Shelley is that basically you're getting our team in there, and Charlie and her team. And so things that are working for us, we just tell you, because why wouldn't we? Because we want you to do really well. What about you, Natalie? What's been the best bit?
Can I say 3 things? I feel like they've all been equally helpful.
Go on then.
Okay, so I think first off, Charlie's lead gen sessions, because sometimes, you know, you think about chasing people and you just think, oh, I haven't had time to do that today, or ADHD brain, it just goes and you don't do it. So having that dedicated time to work on lead gen and follow up and things like that, I feel like that's been super beneficial. I also do really like the hot seats as well, because you can submit the questions for that. By the way, I have submitted one for Monday, so hopefully we get to it. But I feel like that's been great, because they're kind of like the bigger questions, and you get not only, you know, your input and advice about things, but also anybody else that is on that call. And for me, those have been some really important things that I've like changed and implemented within my business. So I think they've been really great. But also having the Facebook group has been really, like, I've asked so many questions in there, and that just kind of loops back to what I said before about, you know, you get out what you put in, you know, ask the questions, and there's no question is too small or too silly or, you know, anything like that. It's a supportive place to ask other people who, you know, are not going to ridicule you, or, you know, they're going to be there for, you know, to give you solid, sound, tried and tested advice to move the business forward. So I honestly would say that those 3 things for me have been like equally important in terms of, you know, helping me get what I have got out of the Kickstart Mastermind.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it is hard to choose one thing, I would say that.
Yeah, well, that's why we made it like we did, because I realized that there were all these masterminds that I was in and that I'd put on like Destination Inspiration for 7 figures plus, and they have so much good quality stuff in them. And then I was looking around at masterminds for people that wanted to get to 6 figures, and there just wasn't the amount in there. It was because I suppose you're charging less, and so it doesn't have the same amount of stuff. Like, one of the things I really knew that I wanted in Kickstart, when me and Charlie were talking about, we were like, we need one-to-one coaches, because accountability is so important. Like, having someone that is with you for an hour every month and goes, have you done this, this, and this? And I think that was a really important thing. And people were saying you can't give one-to-one for people going up to 6 figures because you won't be able to afford it. I was like, I'm going to find a way, because that's what I would have wanted. I would have wanted all these things. And if I want them, I'm putting them in.
And it's someone actually, like, holding you accountable. Like, you said last month you were going to do this. Have you done it? There's no escaping from it. Whereas if it's just a group, you can escape from it. But can I tell you my favorite thing about Kickstart?
Yeah.
I've got so many things, but I'm going to tell you what I love about it is the in-person. I just loved it when we got together at the Sales and Strategy Day and all the Kickstarters were there, and I kept seeing, like, oh my gosh, it's you.
They all have little badges on saying, I'm a Kickstarter.
All the Kickstarters. And then we're doing another one in February, aren't we? Just the Kickstarters this time. And I love that, because I absolutely love in-person stuff and seeing people in the flesh. I've loved everything we've done in person with Kickstart.
It's going to be fun, the next one, because it's more just like a social drinking thing, like meeting up thing. And I think it'll be really nice for everyone to just not be taught, but to just be meeting each other and having conversations with each other, because that's where the magic can happen in any kind of mastermind. Yeah. Amazing. Lastly, if people want to find out a bit more about what you guys do, Kirsty, where can they find you?
Well, I'm generally round about Facebook, in random Facebook groups generally, but Instagram is probably the best place to find me if you want to actively like type my name in. So Kirsty_Bart is where you can find me there, but I pop up everywhere generally.
You're everywhere. And what about you, Nikki?
Yeah, again, mainly Instagram, just Nikki Souch, it's just my name, so I'm just in there. And
Natalie?
For me, Instagram as well. Instagram has been massive for me in helping me build my business. So I have Natalie J Weddings, NATALIEJ Weddings. But then I also, and this is another thanks to Kickstart, have started the new side of my business. So that's Natalie J Webster.
I'm excited about the new business that you've got coming on. I like it when people add to their income streams. That's like my thing, diversifying. So I'm excited to see what that does next. But thank you guys for coming on and talking about this. It's really important that when people are even considering masterminds, whether it's ours or somebody else's, that they think about, what do they actually need right now? Is it more learning, or is it actually to be around people that are going to push you a little bit? And I think this really helps discussing it like this.
Somebody in the comments has said she's really keen to start Kickstart. She's just juggling some finances. For anybody who is watching and wants to start, then send me a message, send Lisa a message. You can book a call with our sales associate. Like, let's chat and see if this is the right thing for you.
One of the things that we already did this week is a few of you said, I know it's a 6-month mastermind, but is there any way we can pay over 12 months? Because it's tough right now. And we did that straight away. As soon as you ask for it, you can now pay over 12 months. So hopefully that will help a few of you out. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. I always appreciate having you guys around. And thank you for coming on. And I will speak to you all soon. But yeah, we're here if you want to chat about it. I'll see you later.